With its deep culture, rich history and strong economic growth, Kazan is proving itself to be one of Russia's most successful cities. Located between Europe and Asia, having both Russian and Tatar population, Kazan peacefully blends Muslim and Christian culture. The vibrant city, which is the capital of Tatarstan, has over 1,000 years of history and has also become an excellent travel destination, with the number of visitors rapidly increasing every year. But it's also proved itself to be a major economic player in recent years, with a booming construction, sporting and financial industry. In an effort to encourage more economic growth to the region, the local government has been hosting a special business summit every year which is based on Islamic finance. Here at Kazan's Cultural and Entertainment Center, also known as the Pyramid, the financial elite from Russia and the Muslim world have gathered for the annual financial summit to promote finance based on Islamic principles. Now in its third year running, the financial summit has emerged as one of the most successful of its kind.
Kazan Summit is an expression of interest by the Russian Federation, especially the Republic of Tatarstan, in Islamic finance and business.
Well, join me, ladies and gentlemen, now in welcoming our next speaker up here to the podium to address us. We have the pleasure of Mr. Muayyid Kankulov, aide to the Russian President, Dmitry Medvedev's special representative in the Volga Federal District.
Добрый день, уважаемый Рустам Нургалиевич.
The industry is today estimated to be around $1 trillion. There are other estimates reading the industry at around 2.5 trillion, as we heard, even $4 trillion by 2015.
It is no wonder that Ernst & Young have declared that Tatarstan is #1 in business out of 83 regions in Russian Federation.
In June 2011, Kazan welcomed guests and participants from around the world to the third annual Kazan Summit. Among the main goals of the international conference was to promote and facilitate economic relationships between Russia and the wider Muslim world. Linar Yakubov is the founder of the annual meeting. For the past 3 years, he's been hosting the conference, which he says has become one of the world's leading gatherings on Islamic finance.
Well, we started our Kazan Summit in 2009, and the main reason was that we wanted to have one very important event in Russia, which could address all the issues related to Islamic finance, business, and all related to that, because we have in Russian Federation we have around 20 million Muslims living, and certainly they are quite active, economically active part of the population, and with a growing awareness about their own religion of Islam, certainly there is a need for financial instruments which are in compliance with the Sharia. In the year 2008, together with the Islamic Development Bank, we had an international investment conference, and we saw that the subject itself, when it comes to investment, Islamic finance, business, is quite interesting, and we decided that it could be a good idea to continue it on annual basis. That's how Kazan Summit, or we call it International Islamic Business and Finance Summit, came into the picture.
I think it's important to point out the success story that this event is becoming. As I mentioned at the beginning, it started with 15 countries attending in 2009. Today we have literally dozens of countries represented here. And we've gone from seeing the fruits being established during these events, such as the establishment of Tatarstan International Investment Company in 2009, the establishment of an Islamic leasing company the year after that, the Halal Industrial Park in 2010, and now I'm told, ladies and gentlemen, that only 20 days ago, TIDA, as it's known, that's the Tatarstan Investment Development Association, was established, and already it has signed an agreement worth 50 million euros of an investment deal.
Conventional financial and banking system has hit its limits. Countries that will regulate and make sure that burden of responsibility are shared lead us to the discussion faith-based finance. Kazan is very well placed to play the role of leading the Muslim world into engaging with the East and the West and be a bridge between the different faiths and the Muslim community. My objective, therefore, is the Silk Route a part of the past, or is it a new future?
One of the other trends we see is the need for a real focus on communication and education of the underlying principles and values. In a world today where, let's say, the confidence in conventional banking has been severely hurt by the events of the crisis, the principles of Islamic banking, prudence, investment in the real economy, lack of speculation, etc., have real resonance, I think, not just in the Muslim world, but to the wider community.
Situated in eastern Russia, Kazan is the capital and largest city of the Republic of Tatarstan. One of its most famous and visible landmarks is the impressive Kazan Kremlin, which was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in the year 2000. The compound dates from the Muslim period of the Golden Horde and the Kazan Khanate, and consists of a group of historic buildings dating from the 16th to the 19th centuries. The nearby Kol Sharif Mosque is also situated within the ancient complex. The building was started in 1996 and then opened to the public in 2005. I'm standing within the high fortress walls of the Kazan Kremlin. This part restored medieval fortress is made up of mosques, mausoleums and ancient buildings and represents the deep cultural history of the region. More than 450 years after Ivan the Terrible captured Kazan and tore down the mosque in the city's citadel, a huge new mosque now dominates the skyline. With a turquoise dome and 8 marble minarets, the Kol Sharif Mosque can accommodate 1,500 people and is the largest in Russia. It was built in only 9 years on the foundations of the old Tatar mosque, and opened in 2005 to celebrate the city's millennium. Despite Tataristan's traditional Muslim roots, Kazan is a multicultural city with a surprisingly harmonious mix of mosques and Orthodox churches. And unlike some parts of Russia, locals exhibit a high level of tolerance towards foreigners. The Kazan Kremlin is a popular choice for tourists. It's over 1,000 years old, and in 2005 the compound was opened to the public after a huge regeneration project in the area. Financed with federal funds to celebrate the 1,000th anniversary of the founding of the city, the restoration project celebrates the region's historic architecture, while still functioning as the administrative heart of the city. Today, archaeological excavation continues, and architects are keen to stick to the same structural design, colours and beauty that's adorned this complex for hundreds of years. So far, about 80% of the restoration work has been completed. Today, the Kazan Kremlin and the monuments which sit inside are a testimony of its rich past and cultural history, which has existed for more than 1,000 years. It's the only surviving Tatar fortress in Russia and has become an important place of pilgrimage for many Muslims. It was around the year 922 that Islam was first introduced to Tatarstan by missionaries from Baghdad. Now, after hundreds of years of assimilation and integration, Tatarstan has emerged one of the most tolerant places in Russia. St. Peter and Paul's Cathedral is the most valuable architectural monument of the 19th century and one of the most sacred symbols of Kazan. The main aspect of the building which sets the cathedral apart from similar churches in other parts of Russia is the style used in its decoration. After Islam, Christian Orthodoxy is the second largest religion of Tatarstan. The Cathedral of St. Peter and Paul is one of the most recognizable Christian monuments of the region, mostly due to its unusual and intricate design. Standing at over 52 meters high, its walls are richly adorned with ornamental flowers, herbs and grapevines. If you left the ancient metropolis of Kazan a decade ago, you'd hardly recognize it upon returning today. The city's original architecture has been restored, but an infrastructure overhaul has added whole new neighborhoods to the city in little more than half a decade. Small crumbling homes of brick and stone are being renovated, and in some places are giving way to high-rise glass towers. Looking at the city's skyline, it's clear that the local government still has big plans for this thriving city. And judging by what the experts have to say, Kazan's prosperity owes much of its success to its ethical, faith-based way of doing finance.
What you are experiencing today in the world, with the major crisis in Greece, in Spain, and the banks going belly up around the world, these sort of things, it gives a lot of popularity to Islamic finance. And actually, most of the clients, let me give you an example. Malaysia is the country that has more developed Islamic finance. about a quarter of the old system, 25% of the old system in Malaysia is Islamic. Now, more than 50% of the clients there are not Muslims. They are Chinese, Indian, these sort of things. And so they don't go to Islamic finance because of religion. They go to Islamic finance because it makes sense. Kazan Summit is the most important Islamic finance event in Russia. Has been running now for the last 5 years. And it actually gathers all Islamic finance players in the country and worldwide, I would say. We do have a lot of people coming from the Gulf, from Saudi Arabia, from the GCC countries, from KL. Tatarstan has a specific and particular relation with Malaysia as well. And the peculiarity of Kazan Summit is that Tatarstan is the republic in all Russian Federation that is proactively sponsoring and pushing forward Islamic finance, and with a number of activities and events and some changes in legislation and in the tax structure to accommodate Islamic finance. So this is the right place where you want to be if you want to be a player in Islamic finance in Russia. Also, major international players like Islamic Development Bank and private investors are coming to Tatarstan. So I think that this is the, I would say, the conduit, the natural conduit, the gateway for Islamic finance in the country.
We believe the Kazan Summit is an excellent opportunity to bring the Russian and the CIS in general investment opportunity closer to the Islamic finance world. Many Islamic investors aren't aware really of the Russian and in particular Republic of Tatarstan investment opportunity. So we are quite encouraged by the efforts of the authorities and people that are organizing these events because we believe it's the right approach, and this is why we as a leading Russian financial institution need to be there as well. The industry has grown at a time where the conventional banking system was shrinking, and it maintained very stable growth rates over the last decade or so. The industry is today estimated to be around $1 trillion. There are other estimates reading the industry at around 2.5 trillion, as we heard, even $4 trillion by 2015. I guess as more Muslim population and Muslim people use banks and as more conventional issuers become aware of the Islamic liquidity pools, the smaller the gap will be and the more the growth will prosper for Islamic finance.
Well, Kazan Summit has been going on for 3 years. And basically because President Minikhanov, his vision is really to try and encourage Islamic banking, halal products and tapping into Muslim world's markets. And because this is a center for the Muslims and for the Europeans, it's a center between, it's a bridge between East and West. And because Mr. Rustam Minikhanov, the Prime Minister, is so eager to build business in this part of the world, he's been encouraging Muslims from Malaysia to Saudi Arabia to Britain to come here and invest in the industries. The important thing is that the President of Tatarstan, His Excellency Rustam Minikhanov, he's actually offering a lot of incentives for people to come and invest. For him, there's a big flagship that he's building a bridge between the Muslim world and Russia. He's building a bridge between East and the West. But more importantly, a small republic within the Russian Federation that is doing so well that Ernst Young believe that this is the best place to invest in the whole of the Russian federations.
We noticed that all the instruments of the Islamic finance, such as Ijara, Itijara, Mubaraka, Sukuk, they are quite sustainable, they're quite reliable, and they're trustworthy. And for instance, if you take let's say not a credit, but some money from Islamic Bank, whatever happens, Islamic Bank would never take your house away from you. And your children and your family would never be left outside the house, at the street and, at the rain, It never happens in the philosophy of Muslim Islamic finance. And we like this idea. The future is further progress. In 2013, we're going to host World Summer Universiade. It's the second biggest event in the sport life of the planet after the Olympic Games. And our university is going to be bigger, let's say, than even the Winter Olympics, because Winter Olympics is about 70 countries participate in it. In our Summer University, over 170 countries will come. After 2013, Kazan will be one of the cities to host World Cup, Football World Championship 2018 for the quarterfinal or semi-final. Then within a month time, the destiny of our city about 2015 will take place in Shanghai. Now we're bidding for World Championship in aquatic sports, the Federation of FINA, F-I-N-A. And we invent another one project for ourselves that keeps us going further, that motivates us for further investment, And all these things, that gives us development of infrastructure, that gives us promotion, that gives us new contacts. And then it becomes like a snowball, rolling down from the mountain, It brings some services, it brings some businesses, it brings some new education, brings student exchange, volunteers exchange, and it's like the whole new life coming to this area. Thanks to our president, my boss.